Hello, faithful listeners. Once again, this is the Going Commando with the 80s Kids podcast. This is Carthy. This is Ben Davis.
Hello.
And we are about to discuss episode 7 of Ahsoka. So first take so the name of the episode, Dreams and Madness. So Ben Davis, first, before we get into our what is going to be our new form of discussing the episodes, kind of going through it take by take. Overall, what's your opinion? Because this one, and faithful listeners, I'm going to interrupt Ben for 1 second. We're not going to do the spoiler-free reviews anymore. It's more fun to talk about the whole episode. And honestly, we're tired of reading all our words the next day on the internet. So, you're going to get the whole shebang, the whole hog at once. So I apologize, Ben. I did interrupt. But what's your overall feeling about the episode?
I love this episode. This episode is not perfect, so it's not a 10.
I think there's only been one perfect one so far.
This is a solid 8.5.
I'm going to go 8. I'm a little bit more lenient. I give a little bit more, but it really takes a lot for me to get there. Like the oxygen dissociation curve. It takes a lot to get me from 90 to 100.
Yes.
And that is a respiratory jokes for people out there. But yes, definitely a solid 8. I could see we're at 8.5 on this one. I feel like this one was another building episode. Would you agree on that one?
I don't even know that I'd go. You said that to me, but I didn't see it that way. Some people have said even filler, but to me, this has solid plot.
You know what? I changed my verbiage, believe it or not, from the couch over to the studio.
Yeah,
because you're right. I did say filler. Now I'm changing it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because filler does seem no action.
Yes.
All talk.
Okay.
This one was a very cool balance, is the way I'm going to put it.
Okay, yeah.
Very cool balance of what is about to come, but also great action, right? In certain places that we're going to get into, especially with the space kung fu. And so, all right. Well, then again, this is episode 7, Dreams and Madness. We start out in the, I guess, Senate chambers, or what? No, you used a better word.
What did I say?
Was it Senate that we discussed?
That's where they are. They're in the.
So
it's not the full chambers, because it's only
honestly
like the high court of like the.
It looks
the
like
subcommittee of
traffic
something.
Cop or traffic court in space.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be 100% honest with you,
you're right.
It did not feel very, considering the gravitas of what just happened.
Especially when you have Mothma.
It felt more like space community college. Like that's where I went for clinicals.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So either way, it doesn't matter. It does have some pretty heavy weighted conversations, obviously. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there. Good acting by the Asian character.
Oh yeah,
because I hate his
Dick
ass.
Face, yes,
and so so you've heard it here, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this out here because I'm sure it's gonna catch fire. I'm just 100% confident. Going Commando with the 80s Kids have decided that his official name is Senator Cockface.
Yes.
So we'll be referring to him as Cockface or Dickface. I like Cockface. It just has a little bit more grab to it.
It does. You're right. I like that.
So when we refer to him in the future, it'll be Senator Cockface. So just in case you get confused, or if you're new to the show, number 1, welcome. But number 2, Ben Davis and I tend to be especially silly. We love to say space kung fu, space cuffs, space whales. Everybody caught on to our space whales, by the way. Now everybody uses it. And so, yes. So Senator Cockface is literally... Okay, so I'm going to pose this to you. I like to save certain things.
I like this little rhyme he gave to
Oh,
you.
man. I'm a poet, and I did not know it.
Exactly.
So anyway, I save certain things definitely for the podcast, right? And I don't tell you about it, and I try to spring it on you so you can have some authenticity. Does it almost feel like he's being overly aggressive, almost like he's in cahoots with somebody else?
Yes, it does. He seems like he's overly aggressive and overly confident.
So I'm not alone in seeing that, right? Because Ben can vouch for me. I did not bring this up even while watching it. We just watched the episode again to kind of get our ship righted in terms of the layout of the episode today. And I mean, it's I don't want to say that it's like being blatantly obvious, but it's almost being blatantly obvious, or he's just that's just cockface for you. Which one is it?
That's classic cockface.
That's just old cockface. You can't do anything about that. That's how he
roll, man.
That's how cockface rolls.
Do you remember how Kennedy was? That's just how cockface
Yeah, I mean, come on. That's, all right.
They grew up together.
See, I can see both, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of character writing, which has been spectacular in this series, right? I mean, I think the one thing that they're trying to ground all of us in are the characters. The lightsabers, fantastic. The cinematography, fantastic. CGI, fantastic. But some of these conversations are very well done in terms of like character motivation, etc. So it almost seems like it is purposeful, right?
Yeah.
Like he's being a cockface on purpose, right? So, but what is the end game there? Right?
I like the calamari next to him as well. He just seemed so dumbfounded about the whole thing.
Oh my God, it's a trap!
He had that look on his face
like,
the entire time. Every time somebody said, he's like, "What?"
Once again, if Ben and I had our multimedia group, it'd like, it's a cock.
What?
It's a cock.
Oh, it's a trap. What?
And also, if you notice, when we paused it, we were writing stuff down. We also see a hammerhead species right there in front. As you can see the gills, the little thing that helps them translate into something we can hear. All right. So, and during this. And I know they mention it just briefly, and so this has been stuck in my crawl, and I'm going to have to go into it. I'm sorry.
Let's hear it.
Why is this dude just so hellbound on being cockface? When you lost 3 X-Wings.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Your whole entire, like, a good, section of your exploratory fleet showed up and witnessed space whales going into hyperspace. Like, is that not enough of a, like, oh, maybe this thing about Thrawn is actually real? I mean, it just seems like almost like a plot hole to me, and I might be being overly critical, but it seems like, yeah, I mean, so that even leads into me thinking that he's purposely trying to throw people off the trail.
I want to ask a question.
Oh, yeah, please, absolutely, please.
Okay, this is the year 2023.
For some.
Yeah, for some. And I don't know about...
5784 for us, I'm just throwing
I think majority of cars have some sort of mechanism in them that recognizes if an accident's going to happen. And I know that the Teslas have cameras in them that record everything.
Space.
So how
dash cams.
So how are these fleets, these massive ships, did they not have some sort of recording mechanism on them?
No, that's actually fantastic. And please put that on our Facebook page, because I had not thought about it. And sometimes me and Ben come up with these brilliant things, and I will use the word brilliant as we're talking. And you're 100% right. You're talking about you send 4 or 5 gigantic vessels from the Senate.
Yeah.
And no one's recording this shit? Right. Yeah. I mean, you can travel through the hyperwaves or whatever you want to call them, but we gotta save memory. We might run out of memory before we get back. Did you load that other quintillion gig card or not?
Did you
you
delete Angry Birds or not?
I didn't get the Space Apple eye coverage. Sorry, sir. But no, that's actually brilliant, dude. Well done. I never even thought about it that way. But you're 100% right. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, he goes into fairy tales, and I'm just like, dude,
Jedi, false
you
Jedi.
Just heard, according to the time, right?
Yeah.
You just heard about a space wizard defeating another space wizard in their gigantic space sphere that can blow up planets. At this point, I'm not sure if you get to just say, all made up. Right? I mean, it'd be different if the Empire had not just fallen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some of it's getting a little bit, I don't know, convoluted in terms of I can understand it's all real, right? Because Jedi, moving things with your brain, etc., light, swords. Yeah, okay. Big, tall dude in a black mask who breathes heavy. Yeah, get all of it. That is functionally believable in a very non-believable world, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, but then when all of a sudden the galactic hierarchy crumbles And you're like, no, it wasn't a space wizard. Someone else blew up that thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's, I don't know. It kind of gets into it. So, and then also,
I heard it was because their extended warranty went out.
yes, I've been trying to reach you about your extended warranty.
That's what happens when you don't get it,
And
man.
then Darth Vader went, no, and blew up the Death
That's what
Star.
happened.
He just let everything get out of him. So, and then we get one of the most awesome cameos, right? Well, actually,
Exactly. It was
real
pretty
quick,
good.
before we go into the cameo, we get the direct reference of what's going on. It's setting up the timeline perfectly. Because he literally, the X-Wing pilot says, what about the conflict on Mandalore?
Yes.
And they just say, yeah, that was a rogue person, right? Empire. Rogue person from the Empire. So now we know roughly in the timeline where Mando is and Moff Gideon is in comparison to where our space whales are. Mm-hmm. So I like the fact that they're kind of narrowing that down. We talked about it at length on our last show about both of us just getting these timelines confused because they can get a little convoluted, right?
Yeah.
And so I like the fact that, I was at the temple when it fell. Mm-hmm. General Balin's skull. You know what I'm saying? At least for me, Filoni's been very excellent at concreting some of these little markers for me so that I can follow along a little bit easier. What you
Yeah, I
has it
love
been
it. That
easier
was
for
great.
you
Yeah,
too?
that helped out a lot now that you mention it.
Excellent. So I think both of us agree with some of the dialogue that's been going on. It's been awesome. And then, jumping back in just because that was kind of a cool, reference to Mando. I didn't mean to cut you off. Who is our famous cameo?
Oh man, it was C-3PO and the
C-3PO.
disrespect.
Oh man, give me some powder. Now people can't see this at home, but give me some powder. I want to pimp slap the fuck out of that guy.
I know. I mean, I got him C-3PO standing right here behind us here. I mean, he's been a guest host of the show.
He was a little quiet, but he was a guest.
Yeah, he was very quiet that day. I mean, he comes in, and then this guy's like, excuse me, I can't let you in. He's like, excuse me? He's like, what is your name? And he's like, I do not need to show you my credentials. I'm like,
Perfect.
tell him who you are. He's like, don't you know who I am, bitch? Don't you know
Perfect.
who made
Yes,
me?
sir.
I was
100%.
in the war, fool.
I'm in every movie. You just in one TV show, mother hump. Right.
I'm glad to see he didn't have the red arm yet.
No red arm, no silver leg.
Yeah.
So, yes, great cameo. It was done by the original actor,
it was him.
Anthony. Right?
Anthony Daniels, yes.
Anthony Daniels, thank you, sir. I was like, Anthony McDowell? No, that doesn't sound right. Or Anthony McDaniel. But yeah, great little cameo. The weight that Leia's name holds to it now is
Yes,
kind of cool.
it is,
I'm just being honest. That was just the fact that he mentioned her, and the fact that Senator Cockface, the moment, the leader of the Grand Defense Council. Oh, excuse me. I feel a little bit of shrinkage right
Yes.
now. I mean, you could see the shrinkage on his face.
Yeah, he was.
Which was awesome. I mean, just, hey, put you in your place, buddy. Like, calm down. Seriously, just calm the hell down. So that was a great little scene. Now, I've kind of, I'm not going to say bettered myself, but I'm going to debase myself right now. The number of ass shots for Hera is just getting a little bit too noticeable to not talk about, because they never show her from like mid waist up.
Yeah.
Like they make sure to go back another 10, 15 feet.
Yeah, you're correct.
Now, granted, I'm being piggish and I don't care, but man, congratulations to that lady, because we're, technically you and McGregor.
Yeah.
But yeah, she looks really good. I mean, my goodness. And again, not trying to be too piggish. However, I can enjoy something while still pointing out the fact that they're doing it gratuitously, correct?
They are. They did a great job in wardrobe.
Oh, she looks great. She really does. But sometimes, like I said, the butt shots, especially, have been a little bit over the top. Now, again, not complaining. LucasArts, Lucasfilm, bring it on. But again, you don't want that to be like central to the character because we have both, and we're being honest about this, we have both said that they're underutilizing her as a character.
They really have.
Because the character herself is fantastic.
Yes.
She's a tactical genius. She is she's a pilot, like extraordinaire, as we like to say. So, I don't know. Missed opportunity
there. She just doesn't really give a damn either, which is pretty awesome.
Just eye candy. You know what I mean? And she shouldn't be regulated to eye candy. No. That's just my opinion. So, all right. So, we get out of this particular set piece, and then we go into, the name of the show with obviously the title, Dreams and Madness. We're in hyperspace. Once again,
yes,
looking super cool. Conversation between Huyang and Ahsoka, and I screamed it even on the second one, lightening up a little bit. She tells a joke, it gets under the robot's skin, and you get to see that brilliant smile
after her lightsaber workout.
Oh, thank you. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
We did miss that. You're 100% right. Hold on.
You're there.
Oh no, she goes into the training after that. I might be wrong. I don't care. We're going to do it anyway. But yeah, we get to see a little better. But then, yes, somewhere in that montage, I don't know, pre or post, we're not going to worry about that. We get to see her training in one of the forms. And who is on the holocron?
It was Anakin.
Anakin. And here's the big one. And I'm going to be 100% honest. I missed this the first way through. It never even popped in my brain on the first watch through. But he specifically mentions Grievous, Dooku, and Ventress.
Yes.
So that is super cool. She is one of the characters that also had an amazing character development arc during the Clone Wars. She is a very compelling character, with her being a dark sister and then, wanting that power, being under Dooku, wanted to be called a Sith more than anything, just for Palps to be like, ooh, she's getting strong. I don't like this. I'm going to have you kill her.
Okay.
Then she gets betrayed and then joins back up with the Night Sisters. And oh, man, great story. So just the fact that they even mention her in the first place gives me hope for some of these little spin-off series, right? So that was kind of cool. And he's basically giving her a pep talk. And we find out that he's recorded like 20 some of these videos. Yeah. Of the forms. So that's kind of cool. Like, she has something that she can specifically reference all the time. Now, at the same time, she's only got a 25,000-year-old battle, droid right there.
Yes.
That taught every major Jedi since the beginning of the temple, or the second creation, third. Might be the Matrix, where it just constantly goes in cycles. Where,
I'd say he has all those on file, record too.
Yes. Just saying, so again, not a complaint, just like me going, wait a minute. But that's not the same as having your master teach you, correct?
Yeah. I think it's more of a pep talk.
I think that's brilliant. Yes, sir. I think having her, especially after what she went through in the in-between, right? It's just more of a motivational thing, right?
Yeah.
So you give them credit for that type of stuff. And then we come out of hyperspace after a couple of booms in the distance. Very, very cool, scene. It reminded me a little bit too much of Galaxy Quest, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. So anyone who's seen the, what was his name? Oh my God, Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver, R.I.P. Alan Rickman. And then we had Tony Shalhoub. And then the other guy as the red shirt. But yeah, fantastically well-made movie. Oh, sorry. The typical Geordie LaForge character, the black actor. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. Because I really haven't seen him in a whole lot of films, if I'm being honest with you. Like, that's a star-studded cast if you go back and look at it. Anywho, but yeah, the mines look identical the way they zoom off. It was almost like a shot-for-shot thing. Just trust me. But yeah, the whales, not even a scratch as far as we can tell. But however, they don't like them, so they did not make the same noise. Maybe they're listening to us, Ben Davis.
The whales were like, "I'm out of here. Let's blow this place."
So they
Wrong planet.
They blow that popsicle stand. And now I'm going to go ahead and preface this with the fact that Ben Davis and I definitely don't understand the vitriol towards the next scene. So in the next scene, it's more like of a hide and seek. right? They're having to avoid the minefield while navigating, after they get out of that, navigating the space whale dust and space whale bone graveyard that is making the rings around the planet. I thought that was fantastic.
That was awesome.
Seemed
awesome.
like a callback. We both said it. Callback to Han Solo in the.
Oh yes.
Well, we call it a minefield, but the remains of Alderaan, right?
Yeah. Even parts of Empire Strikes Back
right.
as well.
We talked about where he attaches to the
Yes.
side and
Yes.
then powers down. They do the exact same thing. It's Jedi 101, right?
Yeah.
So I thought the scene was brilliant. Earlier in the series, when they're doing the space combat, well, obviously there's no aerial, but let's say starship, spaceship combat. Yeah, I hated it because you got repeated shots of Shin Hati's face. You got repeated shots of ships coming from an angle from top to bottom, and I'm sticking by my guns, especially on rewatch. Very, very Battlestar Galactica. I mean, Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I got you.
In terms of that 1970s, the way they were shooting it, it didn't look good. I mean, it just didn't. This was awesome. Multiple independent shots and, them hiding. I thought it was great. So I don't know what the hate was. I'm going to put that out there. Did you have any strong feelings either way?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Okay.
I've loved the flying in all of the films. Episodes.
Please, just for the listeners, tell them the point that you brought up to me about who taught her.
Oh yeah, these people trying to take her down, they don't know what they're going up against because they don't know who they're flying against. They don't know who taught her.
Literally,
just the best pilot in the galaxy, probably ever.
Right.
Anakin.
I mean, they've said. I mean, if you're going to believe the mythos, then he somehow, as a 10-year-old, was able to fly a Naboo fighter into a galactic ring and then somehow make his way out without getting killed.
Exactly.
And they talked about the pod racing and how he got precog. He literally saw what was going to happen and was able to dodge it, right? So if he was able to, you both jokingly said, the guy that jumps out of your car at a red light, right? He tries to do the Chinese fire drill with no ground. But yeah, I mean, unbelievable teacher. So of course she's gonna have mad skills, and I hate to be all like cool about it, but yes, she's gonna be awesome, right?
he's got her out of some abandoned field on Coruscant doing donuts or something.
He's like, well, droids missed. We're gonna be shooting you out of the sky. That's his style anyway. But yeah, I thought that was awesome. Then they, of course, they do the thing where they hide and everybody's looking for them, and then who locates them? The Night Sisters with their magic
their little
orbs.
magic balls and their little pinpoint of radar of death.
So once again, proving how valuable they are to Thrawn. They seem to do that at least once an episode. If I'm being honest, at least once an episode.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. Makes me wonder why their allegiance to him is so strong.
Well, he apparently he promised to bring them back home, and it came true.
Yeah.
And apparently they can see the future, right? Or at least some semblance of the future.
Yeah.
What if they study him and they're like, oh, wow, this dude's a tactical genius and he will benefit us.
Mm-hmm.
He's telling the truth, right? They are witches. So I'm trying to...
Yeah, they are.
Space witches, but I'm still trying to, Right, but I'm trying to, sometimes, my wife makes fun of us because we get so serious about talking about Star Wars. However, I'm like, yeah, but if you were in a book club, y'all would talk just as seriously about fictitious characters. At least mine has hundreds of references over multimedia, correct?
Yeah.
And so if I'm passionate about a fictitious subject, why is it that it's okay for you to root for a lady who cheated on her husband and got an A put on her chest, but it's not okay for me to root for a guy that sacrifices himself for a galaxy? Yeah, you keep rooting for the whore. Bang, bang.
Okay.
Sorry, I get really passionate about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because sometimes especially in women's media, it does seem like they've got a lot of anti-heroes. Sometimes,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Men, I'm big, I'm strong, I come in with a sword and protect little lady, right? I mean, that's very typical masculinist type.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that story. However, I don't find one to be superior to the other, right? I mean, it's all depending on what your viewpoint, what lens you're looking at or looking
I like
through.
your hero's limited vocabulary.
Well, we've talked about it, and we won't go in depth, but we have talked about it in the past about how when people talk about unbelievable expectations of the feminine archetype, we bring up Rambo, Arnold Schwarzenegger, He-Man, and all this other stuff, but it's just pretty much dismissed at some point.
Yeah.
We have unrealistic expectations too. You just have to look
Yeah.
at it through a different lens. So once again, just because my guy carries one of the best shows on TV is about frozen people and dragons.
Yeah. Very true.
All right, so don't give me any shit about my space swords, right? Because if you look at it through the lens of just a storyboard, right?
Okay.
Good guys, bad guys, the incentive to do things, love, loss, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's all the same crap. It's just, my weapons are different. But good storytelling is good storytelling. And I enjoy the media that we happen to talk about because not often, and I will call bullshit on our own media when I'm like, wow, that was nothing more than a CGI fest. So turn your brain off when you go watch it, right?
Yeah.
But there's certain things where they have done such a good job at character development, and I know I keep bringing that up. However, this isn't your dad's Star Wars anymore. This is a sci-fi.
That's a good point.
This is sci-fi with a lot of background history, science, etc.
My father-in-law is trying. I'm going to give him that. So the dad you're speaking of, he's your dad's age.
Well, I say at least giving it a try. So like my dad, he's vampires, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's like going through and he's like watching the animation
That's
shows.
fantastic because I believe if given the chance, you'll find that the writing is better than you think.
Yeah.
Forget about the fact that it's spaceships, not so for my dad being a Western guy, not a horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
oh, you have blasters. Well, you set things on fire, causing an explosion, and that propels a piece of lead very quickly out of a metal barrel. I mean, you're still shooting people. If you enjoy Kurosawa films, then my sword's made out of light. Yours is made out of steel, but some of the movements and stuff are identical. So is it that, like, does it tug at your balls so hard that there's a fantasy aspect to it? Oh, well, it wasn't written by Tolkien, so we can't talk about the one ring that makes you invisible, corrupts your soul with the giant talking eye. Do you see where I'm going with it? Like,
Yeah.
cultural differences. So anyway, back to Star Wars after my long leap off of the bridge right there.
That was very, very deep.
It
I tried to
was.
get us in, but you didn't.
Like, seriously,
reel it in.
my shins are covered in poo right now, faithful
Yeah.
listeners. I apologize, but I did go off on a tangent. The TI-6 Cruiser.
Yes, yes.
We've been talking about this for a while, and so me and Ben came up with this when we were rewatching for our last episode or 2
I
episodes
think it was
ago.
2 ago.
So 2 episodes ago, we were watching the end of the later release Clone Wars, right? The ones that included
Tales of the Jedi. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And so one of them involved Count Dooku and Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
And we immediately, like, holy crap, that ship looks familiar, right?
Yep.
As they're approaching the planet. We compared it to Ahsoka. And it's the exact damn same ship. And we're thought, oh man, we've come up with a giant Easter egg. We're going to be famous. And then, apparently Big Brother is listening because in this episode, oh, that's just a standard Jedi cruiser.
Yes.
Or Jedi transport or whatever it is. But I think that's cool, though. Because it is the identical shape. And so we know they put Dooku and Qui-Gon in there way before.
Yeah.
So just that's kind of a cool pull for me. So we're going to take credit for that one 100%. And so, and then the next thing we notice is the crates.
Yeah, what the hell are in those things, man?
What the frick are in these crates?
Air Jordans, you think?
I was told super soakers because apparently the Empire, no, the First Order, actually, water is acid to them.
Okay,
Don't know if you knew that or not.
Super soaker. Like 200s or bigger?
I think they got the rapid fire ones now.
Oh,
I'm just
wow.
going up there with the individual pressure locks.
It's coming at you live.
Right. So anyone who thinks we don't bring you the best of the best, man.
Maybe it's Pogs.
Oh my God, fidget spinners.
and
Fidget spinners.
Beanie Babies.
All Beanie Babies. All Princess Diana. They stole them and brought them to
That's where they were.
That's
why yours is where.
Beanie Babies. They took them to another galaxy so that they would enhance
value.
over time, regain some fucking value. All right. And so then the next thing we know, we're in the prairie.
Yeah.
What I'm going to call the space prairie. And then we are watching Ezra and Sabine and the little rock dudes in their floating rock carriages.
Little space potato.
Honestly, I would have laughed my ass off if it would have just paused and it said Sabine died of dysentery. I mean, that was. Oh, I'm sorry. Nobody can see
you
this.
Son bitch, you.
I know.
You waited till I got a big gulp of water.
I've been holding that joke in my pocket since last Tuesday, my brother.
You dude, you dirty dog.
She died of dysentery. So, anywho, they're talking.
You should watch our YouTube just
because we almost had a spit take. That was pretty awesome. And so she's still lying to him about what happened. And now it seems, and I'm going to be honest with you, it seems like they're really just glancing over that fact, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being honest, man. It's just like, I came here as a prisoner on the only galactic hyperdrive that is known in existence. But yeah, you're going home.
Yes, exactly. We don't want to talk about that.
Oh my good God! And by the way, I completely put our entire galaxy into jeopardy by coming to get you, which I know you would have hated. However, plot armor. Sorry.
I really thought that the Empire wasn't truly defeated until the Battle of Jakku.
I think that was considered the last one, though, right? Because of the remnants.
Yeah.
But the Battle of Endor is considered one of the last and like the greatest. At least as far as I knew. Now, I could be wrong, and faithful listeners, definitely all 20 of you, if you want to correct me, please do online. But, that mug I got from Black Spire in Oga's Cantina, the entire thing is a reproduction of something they saw someplace, and it was called the Battle of Endor.
Okay.
And it almost looks like hieroglyphics.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Where it's different little... You're looking more of a... same thing. When they find the... No, I'm so sorry. This was a cartoon that's not considered canon, but basically they're going through the father and son relationship of the Jedi, and so it's weird how they're doing things in different time zones, but it's an old space archaeologist, and it tells the tale of a battle, but it only does it through pictograms. And so they can't figure out what the heck's going on through these things, and then one of them finally figures out that it was an actual battle, and he starts reading it that way, and it's super cool how they kind of revealed it through that. It's a little off subject, but same type of thing. And so, hold on one second. I apologize, listeners. I wrote this down. Oh, yes, the next important thing, because I didn't mention it, because I do mention things. Ahsoka talks to Sabine through the Force to locate her.
Yes.
Very, very cool. I think it is reinforcing the idea that Sabine might be awakening. Mm-hmm. So my problem with the whole some people aren't special, everybody, blah, blah, blah. Uh-huh. But I did read a very interesting theory online, and I dig it. I'm picking up what they're putting down. And I didn't remember this, but there is a case for it in the past. Um, some people need to have their force powers unleashed. They have a lock in their brain or whatever you're going to call it. They have a lock. They literally can't open that lock because of something, whatever the reason is. And so sometimes it takes a connection to a force-sensitive being and that trust and everything to unlock that so they can finally like let go of whatever it is. And so that would technically make sense in the terms of Sabine. Her relationship in terms of the mentor, master, Padawan, whatever you want to call it, it's been strained, and we know that Ahsoka's never really given it 100%, or at least they've alluded to the fact that she's never given it 100%. Now, with her having gone to the in-between, I feel like, I've said it since the beginning, I feel like she was off her path. She just wasn't acting like the Ahsoka from before, and I have reason to say that because Filoni freaking created her. Like, him and, Lucas created the character. So if anyone's going to know their character arc, development, motivations, etc., it's going to be that dude, right?
Yeah.
So if anyone's going to know that she was off, maybe because of PTSD from fighting in a battle since she was literally 14, and I've said that repeatedly. Maybe she just wasn't in the right headspace to take on and teach somebody. So now that, her and Anakin have spoken and, basically it was a let go of your past type deal.
Yeah.
Like, you can't help that. Yes, you were put into just a miserable situation. However, you got to let it go, right? Now maybe she can connect fully to Sabine, and possibly that will unlock her latent abilities.
Okay.
The reason I have to dig it, and I'm being 100% honest with you, is because I love Dragon Ball Z. And they've done it in Dragon Ball Z, and I thought it was a cool idea then. And so I would be I'd be a hater. I don't know how to put it any other way. I'd just be like a female empowerment hater. Actually, that doesn't, I'm not going to do that. Screw that. It works. It's worked in the media that I've seen in the past, so I'm going to give it the same allowance, right?
Okay.
And the fact that it has credence. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I got to go with that, and I dig it. And so what we have been talking about, and we're going to talk about it here in a second, huge implications for the future, obviously. And I think a scene coming up, which we will get to, definitely kind of leads to my theory. Now, granted, I was a hater, and I hoist myself upon my own petard, but I am the one that said on this podcast that I felt like in the end she's going to recreate the Darksaber, right? And she's going to be the Jedi Mandalorian. And then they took that from me, right? Like, no, she can't use it. Maybe it's been red herring this whole... I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're paying attention over here, right? And the whole entire time they've been setting it up in the background way over here. And I think that would be fantastic.
I think that's what's calling the black kyber crystal.
No, I still think that in terms of Rey or Skull, I still think that they're going to go somewhere with the hieroglyphics from the video game, or possibly the idea of the mother figure that we never got into, the one that went straight, like the literal epitome of the dark side, because she was mortal and she knew she was going to leave or lose everything rather. So I still think that, and then the idea of finishing the cycle. So he's got to have power. I think he knows he's pretty strong, but I don't think he... Just the fact that, again, this is a little Easter egg, but, he had his hit list on his...
Yeah, he did, yeah.
And that's something, I don't know if we discussed it, but for those who are listening, if you didn't know, there is a scene where you can see Baylan Skoll's, we're going to call forearm guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on it are several names written in Arabesh. And it's basically everyone from the original trilogy. It's Han, Luke, Chewie, etc., etc.
Leia,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe somehow some certain small percentage in the Star Wars universe is aware that, hey, most of our problems are caused by this family. So maybe it might take a couple millennium for another chosen one to be born, right? Like, for a while, Knights of the Old Republic talked about war, but there was a period of time, Like that was, longer than a Yoda. Is the way I'm going to put it in terms of time dilation. Where no one fought. Everything was fine.
Yeah.
But you'll also notice that those times are not full of Jedi and Sith stories, right?
Yeah.
So the rest of the universe, or in this case, the rest of the galaxy, is basically paying the price for there being Jedi and Sith in the first place. And then the grab for power and then using those type of individuals, right? Anywho, we got a little bit deep on that one too. But still very point. I think it's a fair point, right? I mean, you with me on this one?
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. So then, as we said, the Night Sisters locate. They flush them out. Once again, another fantastic using the Force to navigate through the bone graveyard of space. I thought that was awesome. One of the coolest ones. Oh, man. So she locates them. She's flying down. Now, in this time, Ezra and Sabine have found out that they've been located. They see the wolves with their riders off on the distance. They try to avoid. There's more. And then on top of it now, Shin Hati and a band of the red or scarlet banded
Noti
stormtroopers are approaching the Noti, right?
Yeah, that's not the stormtroopers yet. They've not left in their gunships.
No, that's when they show up. Remember, they see them on the distance, and then Ahsoka comes through and does one of the coolest jump slide ins in all of history. That was awesome.
But you left off the part where
What did I
Balin is told.
Oh, you're 100% right. I'm so sorry. Ben Davis keeps me on track. Yes, the scene between him and Shati, and that's our nickname for her, before she even leaves to go down there. One of which I called, and you called. She does seem a little power hungry, doesn't she? Mm-hmm. And so I think that at some point, one of those kind of looks he gave her was realizing our paths are diverging, right? And so at this point, he says that he has something calling to him. He needs to go in the cycle, and that in order for her to do her path and her grasp of her power, she needs to go defeat Sabine and Ezra, right?
Yep.
And so
take her side with Thrawn.
Right, and take her side with Thrawn. So that is a huge thing, because he even says, and this was something that we definitely noticed together while watching it just a little while ago, if you try to reach too fast too soon, I'm paraphrasing, if you try to reach for power too soon, and you're going to get bit, essentially, is what he said.
Pretty much.
I mean, he said, my one last
lesson.
Thank you, sir. Perfectly said. Yes, sir.
Which is what we all tell our children and our students.
Right.
Did we not?
One last
I know I left my students with one last lesson.
Yes, of course. Because you just want to be like, look, so in this case, it can be comparable in the fact that you have to go 2 years to learn how to basically run one machine.
Yeah.
And a human being is attached to that machine. So for those of us, for those of you out in listening world, Ben and I are both registered respiratory therapists in the U.S., specifically in North Carolina, and we did the worst of the worst. That's how we know each other from way back in 2005. But it is a thing where sometimes you have to follow somebody to really get the gist of it, and then constantly practice. So in this sense, much different. I know battling and the Force and all this other stuff, but it is very congruent in the fact that, look, you're about to go take care of people on your own, right? And so if I'm going to leave you with one little last bit of advice or one last lesson, here it is. And I think we both had students where we're like, "Oh, you're gonna hurt somebody if you don't
think
dial
you've
it
won
down." Right.
Until you've made sure they're not dead.
Yeah, pretty much. No, you're 100% right. And so I think that was brilliant. Very well done, sir. And so he's like, oh, one last bit. And basically, like I said, at least that's the way I took it was, and his wording is so much better than I'm giving it justice for, about the grasp for power. You just make sure you're not stabbing yourself in the foot, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, at this point, let's take a $5. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think we're going to run long.
we're
I don't know
gonna-
how long this recording device works.
Yes, and so and we're having so much more fun talking about these in the new format, but also me and Ben talked about it. These have given more reason to discuss.
Yeah,
So much more. There's and there are little ways to go, and on top of it, there's not.
We have a little
10
debate coming up too.
and we do, and the 10 minutes of staring off into the distance has been reduced. So.
I'm going to take the role of Shannon Sharp. You can take the role of Skip Bayless.
I'm not being the ass. Oh no, I fit that. Never mind. I'm gonna take the role. Yes. So anyway, nothing for you guys.
Skip.
I don't know.
Why are you saying your own name, huh? I've already defeated him. He doesn't even know.
Look, I swear that dude. Oh my gosh. So, Ben and I are gonna take a $5. It won't be nothing for you. It won't be nothing. God Lord,
Won't be a thing but a string on a
the
chicken
North
wing,
Carolina,
buddy. Woo!
the North Carolina
Diggity,
came out of me
diggity,
there for a
diggity.
second. My Midwestern relatives would be just so appalled. We are going to take a break. It will seem as if no time has passed.
Love you,
for
buddy. Come on.
Oh no, look, you know me. I make fun of myself more than anybody else. And then we'll be right back. We're going to be back in 2. Welcome back. Thank you for the break. But now we're going to go into more Star Wars. We kind of left off, and I messed the time up again. Thank you, Ben Davis, for correcting me. We did it off mic. I talked about Ahsoka coming down and jumping out of the ship and everything.
Yeah.
Or I didn't get there, and in my brain somehow I did. However, we see the people in the background. They are coming towards the egg cartons of a ship, whatever.
Yeah,
Their herd,
little
their high
things,
prairie, their Oregon Trail. Yes, I said it.
That's right.
And then the conversation. Now, I'll be honest, not a big fan of this. Now, I know you were digging it.
She's hot trash.
But not my biggest favorite thing is the conversation of, I brought your lightsaber. Don't need it. What? This is your thing. Here. I gave it to you.
Yes, exactly.
And then the statement. And you and I went back and
Well,
forth
if he takes it back, then he's going to start a whole new trendy word, Jedi giver.
Oh, that is fantastic. If you don't make a meme out of that, I mean, seriously, dude, you got to make a meme out of that. That's fantastic. That was brilliant. That's my way of laughing uncontrollably, is me just saying how excited I am over and over because I'm a robot. But yes, and so what does he say? The Force is my ally.
He does, yes.
So I posed this to Ben Davis, and he kind of raised an eyebrow at me, which I know means you might be onto something, you might not. However, doesn't it seem very reminiscent of I am one with the Force? Or the Force is one with me.
Some Ray says later, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. Now that you've said that, I'm like, wait a minute, who else has said the Force is my ally?
She said that, I'm pretty sure.
I am almost 100%
they're all
sure
saying
that
it in a way.
you are 100% right.
Didn't you read it in those books?
I think you might be right, dude. This is a great call because I didn't put the connection together.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's brilliant, dude. Yes, I think you might be right. It might have been Rey or somewhere or something she was reading, or something along those lines, or like a Jedi Creed.
And isn't the dude who was saying that, whatever his name was, he wasn't a Jedi, but he was the blind dude who was like almost with the Force from.
No, that's what I'm
Rogue
talking
One?
about. Yes, the Book of Elijah guy from the Death Star, Manny Bothans.
Yeah, so he was one of them.
What's the name of the movie? Why can't I remember?
Rogue One.
Rogue One. God bless.
I can't remember the dude. What his name was.
Oh,
in the
I mean
film.
the name of the person is famous. I cannot remember the characters.
But in the film,
because that's Ip Man.
I'm wondering if those are like he's like one of the last of them, one of the like original people that were like the Jedi ancestors. And
now
as they evolved, the Jedis became what they are.
So you might know more than me on this, but I had read someplace that he was a palace guard.
Really?
that lost his sight and then refused to pick up a lightsaber for some reason.
Never heard that.
Okay, now that might have been a theory. You know, there's so much. Again, I read a lot, and I know I
Yeah.
say this almost every episode, so I apologize. I read a lot if you haven't heard. But sometimes you know how those theories can start running together.
Yes.
Because you just, they're so... Now, granted, I love the fact that everybody has an opinion, but sometimes they weave such intricate tales, and you want to believe, right? Because the right is adding up, but some of them like change one or two different things just so they don't like face copyright or whatever, plagiarism, and so they get really convoluted sometimes. You know what I mean? But I really did think somewhere someone had said something about him being a palace guard, not being like a battler, a warrior, a Jedi warrior.
I hadn't read that, but if you read it, I mean, I dig it.
I mean, it could be.
I can kind of see it, but
I know I read it, but
don't know.
It would be much cooler, as a fan, if he was a group of people that did not use weapons in that type, but still could wield the Force. Yeah. So I will say that. And so, so I'm not so happy about him not taking that lightsaber, but only as a fan.
Yeah.
Because I was like looking for Ezra to wreck shit. He was already very strong. As it was. Now he's older and hopefully more connected with the Force is what we're thinking. Able to in that last episode where he's just got so many people trying to shoot him and he's dodging things and blocking things, and he's constantly just Force pushing like 20, I'm exaggerating for a point,
doing a
like
good
10
bet,
people at a time, like throwing them through doors and shutting them so that he could ensure the fact that Thrawn and himself were on that ship. Thrawn's not going to escape. That's what his main focus was. Like, he had one hand like telling the space whales, keep this dude here and let's jump off, right? So he's got to be very, very powerful, right?
Well, we know that when Jedi get to be that strong, they always show their strongest moment. They're always pulling into a little bit of emotion.
I think you're 100% right with that. It can't be too Vulcan, right?
Exactly.
And so just the fact that he says he doesn't want it and Force is my ally, that leads into a very controversial subject. Are you ready for this, Ben Davis?
Let's hear it.
100%?
Yeah, man.
Space karate.
Space karate.
All right, so I read this as a spoiler on accident, but whatever. We even ourselves said go to a certain website 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And said, look, we didn't want to spoil it when we were doing our spoiler episodes. However, it was super exciting to see all those names, and they all came true except for one. So they didn't spoil in terms of what's going to be said. Disney has gotten so much better. They are better than Marvel at keeping things, tight-lipped.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just awesome to get excited, you know what I'm saying, about the possibility. So that's fantastic. So I'm allowing myself a little spoilery stuff. Because I don't feel like it's like leaking the way that it was.
Oh gosh, no.
And so just the fact that it was even said, right? It's out there. Something might happen in this episode. To have all these people show up, right? Well, back to my original point of me reading something, and I thought it was stylistic writing by the author.
Okay.
Space karate.
Space karate.
Doesn't use a lightsaber. And I'm like, this is dumb. There's no possible way that this is true. It's probably exaggerated, like he does space combat.
You talking about what about when I texted you?
Oh, I didn't even acknowledge it.
I know you didn't, you son of a bitch.
And so,
so... You don't want to tell them what I texted you,
Ben and I are writing... Well, the reason I didn't respond also is because you spoiled it.
You were watching?
I was 5 minutes behind.
Damn you.
I'm just saying.
Why didn't you tell me you were watching?
Because I thought you would at least give me to the 10 o'clock limit, the 15-minute barrier. You were texting in live time. I know. You texted me that in less than 2 minutes I saw Space Kung Fu. So I didn't respond because I was like, fucker, number one. And then 2, I watched the show, and I was like, fuckers. So
you should have texted back that then. So
I
then
know.
at least I would have been like,
know.
I would either would have laughed or cried.
Like, are we Gen X people trying to talk about our favorite media? Or we're a bunch of millennials talking about, or Gen Zers talking about why you didn't give me a restart in fucking Fortnite. Come on,
dude.
Come on. Give your balls a tug. All right.
Tug.
That has been an 20 years of giving each other hell. And again, I've always said, you got to have somebody to give you hell in your life. If you don't, your life is not balanced. And I'm a Jedi, so I want my life to be balanced.
Okay.
Can't always just have all nice things.
Very true. So I said.
So anyway, back to, you said
Space.
GD Space Kung Fu.
I did. And then I said.
Literally.
I did exactly what I said. And you didn't respond.
No.
Later, I came back with, that is Space Chuck Norris.
Oh, and
what was your response?
My response was not so much. I'm going to give him Space who? I'm going to give him Space Ralph Macchio. That's right. I'm going to give you Space Karate Kid, Jedi Kid.
And
I'm going to be honest with you. After rewatching, I'm going to die on this hill.
Well, he did sweep the leg.
He swept the leg. Oh, we had so much fun talking about that. Yeah. Oh my.
Sabine's over there. Put him in the body bag. Put him in the body bag.
When you seriously, just do
One
freaking
of those little turtles is like Mr. Miyagi.
Seriously, Qui-Gon's. I love the Obi-Wan Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon.
Yeah, where they're watching the
the
stuff.
Space Ghost as they're watching stuff. I don't understand why he didn't just space sweep him. So I'm being honest, and sometimes I'm harsh.
Yeah.
So you know what? Let's broach this subject since we have our whiteboard so nicely here. I have to give a big I don't give a damn to every single person out there that thought it was mean that people were saying that Thrawn was fat. I'm bringing this up right here and now. I'm broaching the subject. I'm going to just throw it out there. He's had way too many Hot Pockets. And, I know you're low on rations.
Hot Pocket.
But here's the deal. All right. Every single representation of it. Oh, Ozempic. Sorry, he's got to go on something. Space Ozempic.
Space Zipic.
Space Zipic. Oh, I love it. Yeah, marketing, copyright. Ben and Davis McCarthy LLC. We've said it first.
We do.
The Chris people.
They're extremely thin.
They got really thin. Now, obviously, you can't reproduce that. Almost like they had trouble reproducing Cad Bane.
What's his name?
Especially with the color.
The dude, the vampire from Twilight.
Oh, yes, Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
You know what? He could definitely rock the early Thrawn. That's actually brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that. That's actually brilliant. I liked him as the young Batman. I thought I was going to hate it, and then it ended up being fantastic. Now, I don't like him as Bruce Wayne, young Bruce Wayne, but I love him as young Batman. It's weird. It's a dichotomy. Yeah. But I thought he did a great job with the movie overall. Anyway, but brilliant. He could definitely 100%, especially with his really thick hair, he could 100% play a young Thrawn.
I mean,
That's
got the slender but yet muscular features.
He's got the slender, yes, I agree, broad shoulders. You know what I'm saying? With that thin. So again, we're getting back to the fact that that's the way the Chris people.
Sorry, everybody, but men judge fashion too.
Oh gosh, y'all think y'all are hard on each other. You should hear what we say in the bathroom. But no, seriously. And it's very noticeable. He has like a dad belly, right?
He does. Witches are feeding him well.
That belt is the only thing that's, you know what I mean? Like, come on.
He's getting some good gravy and biscuits.
So we didn't. We're not doing it in terms
Southern foods.
Fat shaming. I'm sorry.
He's comfortable in his marriage to those witches, and he's just put on some weight.
We've been very consistent on
trying
to get
a great 10-year marriage,
the most accurate on-screen representation of what we love. Correct?
Yes.
so everybody can piss off. All right, so I mean, not obviously our listeners,
Yeah.
but everybody else in the media right now. Number two, you and I both noticed it because we are lucky enough to have pretty big 4K TVs, and we try to do our best in terms of rewatches, so that when we go through this, if you haven't watched the episode and you just want to listen and kind of chill, that's what we're here for, and I feel like we recap them fairly well. However, if you want to go see it, you can. Another aspect of Chris people, their hairline doesn't go back with age. I mean, he's got a 5 head.
Yeah, you got a big one.
And once again, I'm so torn
I think
because
that's a piece too.
and I think it might be a piece as well because I
Because
saw a picture
it
of him and
looks
his brother,
really
and he's a lot
fake.
thinner. And yes, you're the one that mentioned the toupee-ish look. And I immediately said, oh my God, when I was doing my rewatch this morning, that's the first time I noticed inserting lighting. It looks horrible, dude.
I hadn't noticed it until this episode, and not on the TV up here so much, which is the really huge TV.
Right,
4K
I love
TV.
watching in here.
But
Let's
the
make
one
the point. Let's make the
downstairs,
point
I
real quick.
noticed
Watching with the sound bar, and Ahsoka tries to get in touch with Sabine through the Force. That deep bass rumble was fantastic. So that's really off subject. We'll get back to Ben. I just want to say, anybody, if you want to invest in a sound bar, man, it makes a big difference sometimes when you're watching. So I'm sorry. Go back to your
I
point.
did notice that when I was watching it downstairs. I'm like, it doesn't sound as good watching it on
Remember
this TV.
when I told you when I went home and I was like, something's off?
Yeah.
And your TV just sound, and I'm like, oh, he's got the subwoofer with the sound bar. So anyone, we're giving a little bit of props out there for sound. You don't have to have a million speakers.
No.
A sound bar and a subwoofer is pretty darn awesome, and it will enhance your viewing experience. So,
It really did. I
And
was
Ben
happy with
and I
that.
have noticed it with the whales. That's the first time
That
I
was
brought it
cool,
up.
yeah.
You know, I watched it at home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it does sound cool. But the rumble yours gets with their really like, you know, because whales naturally make that.
They do.
And then, also the Night Sisters speech.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I definitely noticed because that one woman, when they modulated her voice,
low
that
rumble,
it
yes.
was, and yours was like, something primal in me is just scared,
yeah.
right? And then I went home and I'm like, I'll kick you in your face. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead with your.
I don't even remember
I'll kick
where
you
I
in your
was now.
Space face.
They're kicking her space face.
What were we talking about? Jump out of the ship. We went there. I don't remember. Let's just continue on. That's no big deal. But anywho,
That was a good conversation.
I mean, we go off on tangents, but they're all relevant.
That was a good one.
They're all relevant, my friend. And so, no lightsaber for him, right?
No, but he's doing the. He I called it Space Aikido. That's what I ended up calling it.
My limited knowledge of martial arts, I think you're correct in terms of, you'll notice he waited for opportunities to use it. It wasn't him just going hilly-nilly.
It was
and
more
it did
blocking.
Seem like, more blocking. And
like
more
what would be tosses, but instead of the toss, it's the force
space
stuff.
throws.
Yes.
Yes, 100%. You read
And that's
my
where I
mind.
said he's Space Steven Seagal lawman.
And I'm still going
Peridia division.
space Machio is as much as I'm going to give him.
Well, they're about the same.
But I will say,
About the same.
yeah, actually, you're pretty close. But he had more throws though. Machio's still trying to crane kick it.
I mean, you got it was a throw versus a kick to the nose face region.
It was enjoyable to watch, less so than the previous episodes in terms of the action.
I love this episode.
No,
the
again,
last episode I didn't care
remember,
for so
we're
much.
not talking. Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Yeah,
Ben
there's
Davis.
nothing's absolute except for the fact that.
Well, I mean, you went from love, and I'm just saying.
I love
the
it. It was an
action-
8.5.
Being honest, the action was a little. It was like actually not even a half of a star. It was 0.25 of a star.
I mean, I've never been a big Ezra fan anyway, so
Oh,
if
see,
they didn't find him, I've been
you know,
like,
that's-
oh, damn, it's a shame.
That's sad because I have to say the same thing. Like when they introduced like a new Jedi in
Yeah.
Ezra, I wasn't like, wee. Now, granted, he grew on me though. It's one of those things where you can't have like 5 seasons of a character that you
I'm
keep up with and not grow with them.
surprised you didn't notice. Have you not noticed the people who are lacking of all the Star Wars characters?
Oh, don't worry. I noticed. Yes.
But you've never said a word.
No, I'm not going to be like, hey, bitch, where's Ezra? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
I'm not going to do that.
It's not just Ezra.
Well, it's the whole Rebel crew. Or
is.
the Ghost crew, rather.
Correct.
Yeah, I know. And I'm going to be on... Okay, so I'm going to throw the
No,
gauntlet.
let me
We're
be
going
honest
100%
first.
honest? Okay.
I want to be honest first.
That's fair. That's fair. Go ahead.
I really hate to say this for all the Clone Wars purists, but I almost at times prefer to watch Rebels over Clone Wars.
I am the exact opposite.
I know you are.
So but that's cool though, because that...
And I would not buy one of them because I'm like, why would I want to buy these people?
Yeah, there is no way in hell I'm buying pretty much anything from Rebels.
Yeah.
But I will 1,000% buy like a Captain Rex something.
Yeah,
I will 1,000% buy an Ahsoka something.
Yeah.
I will 100%. I own the semi-expensive, not the expensive, but the semi-expensive Clone Wars Obi-Wan costume.
Yeah.
I mean, has the plates and the, everything. I have to fill certain things in, but I loved that series that much. I thought the stylization was different. Really quick, I know we keep going on things, but someone explained it to me. The reason why the art, characters, character looks, and etc. are different is because Rebels is being told through Sabine's stories.
Okay. Yeah.
Her being an artist and her that painting at the very end looks just like them.
Yeah.
That's why everybody looks just like the painting.
Okay.
And then so it has to do with who's telling the story.
Yeah.
So I liked that a lot, and it did explain, because I didn't enjoy Rebels' look at first. I grew to like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to the Clone Wars, far superior in my opinion. However, Rebels that was more of a shoring up of the old. Rebels is the beginning of the new, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we've also said how, they keep doing it. And I think, now we talked about the bullshit article about Ahsoka doesn't need its main character.
Yeah, that was garbage.
But it does definitely, it made some points. I'm not saying they were...
Well, yeah, at times...
Most of the points were bullshit.
Yeah, at
but it made
times.
some points, and that just, to me, solidifies the fact that they did have an episode. And you're the one that even... You called it before the episode.
yeah.
You called it a week before the episode.
Well, that's
the
not
next
saying
one
it doesn't need its main character.
But guess what? No other show where the main character is the name of the show gets to take a whole episode off.
I cannot believe that is true. Think about everybody gets their own episode.
You got 8 episodes of your
No.
first season.
I'm talking
and
about
you're
shows
in
all the way back. I'm
5
talking like
minutes.
Seinfeld, all these other shows.
Seinfeld was in every episode. You can look it up.
I'm thinking like Gilligan's Island, all these weird shows that you can think about all the way back
Gilligan
to when
was
they
in
were
every
making.
episode.
I'm not going to be able to sit here and tell you every show that had a person's
No, but you
name
remember,
in
you're
it.
talking to a
The
computer.
Jeffersons. I'm sure there was an episode where the Jeffersons were not in it.
They were in it every episode.
There had to be the spin-off episode where they
Well,
where
remember
it went
that's-
to the
But
to the
spin-off
however.
episode would have been named, let's say, Honky. So,
But it
guess
still
what?
would have been the Jeffersons.
The Honky would have been in every episode.
Who's the honky?
You said a spin-off show.
No. Would they always throw the spin-off show inside the season of the Jeffersons? They always do that shit.
Obi-Wan was in every episode of Obi-Wan.
We're not talking about Obi-Wan.
Mandalorian, he was in every episode of Mando. Ahsoka had an episode where she was only
Boba
in
Fett was
10
not in
minutes.
every episode of Boba Fett.
And because it was Mando 2.5, and we've talked about it.
I just gave you an answer, but you gave me an answer back. That's not what you asked me to do. You asked me to give you a show where there wasn't something.
What I'm saying
but that's
is,
not what you asked. You asked me, and I answered your question.
was Boba Fett the essential?
No, I did what you
aspect?
asked me to do. Question over. Done.
No. That's being way too simplistic on that one.
That's what you said.
This is Rebels Season 5.
Oh, yeah, totally, 100%.
This is not an Ahsoka show.
No, I think that if they get to season 2, it'll be more so that.
I agree with you, just like Mando was more eccentric, and I don't think we'll ever see a Boba Fett 2. But it is not as simple as saying,
don't
I've
need a
named
Boba Fett
another
2.
product, because we've both admitted, I don't know the direction sometimes in some of these things. They
Yeah.
name it one thing when it's really something else.
We don't need Boba Fett 2. We never needed Boba Fett 1. The only reason they
He
did
came-
Boba Fett 1 was to appease
What
the people
happened
like
to
me
him?
that they pissed off.
In that city, he came in riding on a Rancor. I want to know what happened.
He's ruling it like Jabba did. We will see him again one
And?
day in Mandalorian Season 5 or something.
You think so?
I do.
Okay, fair
Because
enough.
Mando will roll into Tatooine and Boba will say, I request his presence. And Mando will be like, nah, I'm not going. And they would say, it's not a choice, bitch. Come on. So they grab him and roll him in. And Boba will be like, hey, what's happening, homie? We're having a feast. Come on in. And then they'll have a good time and they'll drink much Romulan ale. And then they'll ride their Rancors around in the pit. And that'd be a good episode.
I'm going to be honest with you. That was oddly specific.
Yeah.
Just being honest with you.
It's going to be a good episode, I'm telling you. And Baby Yoda will be over there like rolling around with fruit in his hand and shit. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, dude, yeah. You and I are like, which is awesome still, but we are diametric opposites on this one. So,
You don't think that's going to be a good episode?
not really. Unless they jump the space shark. And then I'd be awesome. Yeah. I mean,
It's going to be space whales. They have space
just,
whales. They jump space whales.
he can jump the Krat dragon.
That's what they do,
But yes, no,
they're
again,
they're going to put Baby
like
Yoda
I
in the
said
Ahsoka
before,
spacesuit.
I'm gonna die on this hill. Like I just can't do it, man. I don't care about, let's say, the throw off Mandalorian 2.5, which was Boba.
I understand what you're saying, and I
Ahsoka
understand
is such
your
an
point.
awesome character that she deserves more per episode, in my opinion. That's just what I'm saying.
However, she was even in that episode. She was in that episode. It was Sabine
For like 10 minutes, you know.
Doesn't
what I
matter.
mean?
She still was.
I don't see how you called it. You knew, and I don't see how you could have known because it's an Ahsoka show. But you literally 1 week before it said, "Nah, she ain't gonna be in it. It's gonna be all about this other stuff," and you like nailed it 100%. Just never saw it coming. I'm gonna be honest with you. Never saw that coming. Doesn't mean it was less than a show in any way or whatever. But some of the arguments within that one article did kind of come true for those of you that like to call it
I wish I could
rebels.
say I worked for Lucasfilm, but if I did, I wouldn't live across from a goth redneck. So
Oh, I think you still would. You're secretly in love. Don't even lie about it. All right, so why no lightsaber? Of course, he's one with
he
the
doesn't
Force.
need it, man. He's
I'm still saying not
swooping legs.
the best action compared to, however, very entertaining. Now, the action that I think was badass,
Action's coming up.
Sabine.
No, oh
My
fuck,
goodness,
man.
that
You're rolling.
actress. Now, see, most people don't realize, and I had seen her in a film before, but most people don't realize she was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the most recent one.
Yeah.
And she's fantastic. She doesn't look like herself because she's even a little bit younger. So she's got the chops, like a Hong Kong film.
Okay.
She is getting to be a badass. The way she handled, like she pulled the lightsaber out and slashed two people, looked very Jedi. When someone shot her and she blocked it with their Beskar. Now her
That was
Beskar must
cool.
be really awesome because apparently once it gets damaged or gets hit, you're supposed to replace it. But she keeps on going. But that little, like that was a blaster bolt right for the dome,
She has
and she
original Beskar.
blocked it.
Yeah.
Like that was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like almost like Boba Fett awesome. Like the way he does things,
yeah.
or the way, technically we got to see more of Django and the way that he
Yeah.
fought, especially with Obi-Wan. But damn, dude, so freaking cool, right? And so that whole thing was pretty entertaining. The, again, entrance of Ahsoka, her jumping out of the ship and sliding down and rolling and force blasting a whole bunch of stormtroopers out of the way.
Well, you forget her lightsaber duel with
That
Vader's
comes next.
Skull. No, she fights
Oh
him
no,
before
you're
she goes
100%.
down.
Oh my gosh, thank you for keeping
I
me on
am
track.
keeping us.
You
in-
were batting 1,000 today, dude. You really are. You're
So,
keeping us on track.
You think she
Oh, the
gave her
debate.
100% with this? I do not.
No. I never said I thought. I said I think that she realized that she probably couldn't win. So, the traditional Ahsoka, the smart Ahsoka, the one that learned from Anakin, says, I don't have to beat you to win. It's the long con versus the short con.
You honestly can sit there and tell me that you think an Anakin Skywalker or his student goes into any situation thinking they can't win?
I'm not going to say not win, but I do believe that they go into the situation knowing what they need to accomplish.
To win.
And I think Anakin taught her there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yes.
And so, again, she didn't have to win the lightsaber battle to win the war. And I think the whole entire time she knew what she was doing. However, I do believe from previous encounter and his ability, whatever, she knew she wasn't going to beat him straight up. So what she needed to do was stall him. And so how does she accomplish that? When she was really serious before the in-between, she used one lightsaber. Because that is technically the smartest choice. This one, she purposely uses two. Because she's blocking. She's using the cross hilt block. A whole lot more. Cross guard block, right? Again, she's so smart as a combatant that she knows I need to get from point A to point B, and Skoll is in my way. She also knows that Huang is up in that ship and is going to be coming back around. So in her brain, her tactical brain, again, been fighting in a war, and I know I say it a lot, but it's true. I mean, she's a badass. She's been in war since she was 14. She knew, I need to get there faster. I can run, or I can steal his ride. And I think from the moment she landed, her end goal was stealing that ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you know, we've been busting each other's balls.
Well,
so, your internal love for Miss Ahsoka, all things and other, I think you felt like I was attacking the most awesome girl in the world. Where I just think she's becoming more like her master.
No, I believe everything you say
in terms of the tactical
everything
nature
you say
of
is
it.
positive, but I'm with you up until the point to where you think she believes that she can't defeat him.
She is not going to kill him in any way and get to where she needs to go.
I think she knows that that's going to take a long time. I believe that she is just fighting in a delaying style. She's not fighting in her normal
acrobatic style.
I'm here to defeat you.
I don't think
in
she
a
can.
deathly manner. I don't think you don't think she can.
Nope.
I believe that she will.
And you know, if that we might be, and that would probably make more sense in the long run. If I'm going to be honest with you. However, I'm still stuck on what's going to happen to her in the next year or two because of the new movie, like we've talked about.
Yeah.
The fact that she's not around, and the fact that I think she has to become the daughter.
I believe she'll be in some of these newer movies that are.
You think so?
Some of the new movies are going to be coming out. She will not be in the Rey series, I don't believe.
Okay.
Or she could be in the Rey series.
That would put her like as an older,
series.
like much longer tailed thing, right?
She could be the much older, wiser grandmaster type.
See, I think
person.
I think that's perfect. But yeah, like you give her maybe 10, 15, 20 years where she's connected and really like old Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I think she's strong enough, like literally in the Force, to defeat him.
Well, dude, she's
However,
in there like
he has been with the Force since the Temple days, since way before she even knew what the Force was, right? Or she was really young when it was sacked, rather. 14, 18, in that range. He was already a Temple Guard, which has been canon.
Have we determined that he was a general? Temple guards weren't generals.
Oh, that's right. No, you're 100%. But he was a general. And so think about all the other generals, though, in the war, right?
Yeah.
You're a badass if you're a general. And he would have had to have been young because of his age currently.
Well, yeah, he can't be anything more than supposed to be 50.
I don't even remember. Have they even made a mention of
No,
how
but if he knew Anakin and they supposedly served together, they're both generals, so Anakin was 23 at the most.
How would you think maybe Balin was then?
I'm going to say he couldn't have been any more than 25.
Okay.
Because Obi-Wan was, 30?
Where does that put him now then?
Anakin was
how old?
40 something when
yes.
it all
oh,
fell.
Good memory.
So that's
dude.
going to put this guy no more
right
than
around 50, right?
55.
All right. So that's excellent. Well done, Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
No, that was fantastic. I don't know, man. This dude's been doing it for a long time.
Well,
he was
Ahsoka
strong
isn't
enough
exactly a spring chicken in this.
Oh no, you're correct. But I'm talking about
She's
somebody.
middle aged.
You're talking
if
about
you're
somebody
going
who was
in human years.
That's still enough. 10 years as being 10 years surviving Order 66, etc. I'm being a realist here.
She survived it too.
He's been doing it a long time. Yeah, and she got disconnected from the Force.
Everything
and
she did,
put down her lightsabers.
Well, it didn't
for a
really show
while.
her being disconnected because she kept using it. Obi-Wan's the one that got disconnected and didn't know how to use it again.
Oh, you got no. You're 100% on that. Well, he could use it, but just not efficiently.
It wasn't well.
It wasn't well.
He still could use it better than Sabine.
That's so funny, dude. Oh my God, we just kicked her in the nards. That is so freaking funny. Wow, I did not expect that. But yes, no, you're 100% right. Yeah, you're right about that. I don't know, dude. I'm trying to be a realist because I mean, even with my guy Dooku, I love him, but I know he's not kicking certain people's ass. You know what I'm saying? Like. And so, I think it's...
I refuse to believe this guy's that much of a big man.
I think it's style. I think certain styles trump other styles. And in this case, he was a general. We don't even know who trained him.
That's just age, man.
Yeah.
They were all the generals because of their age.
No. All the generals we've seen on movie and have read about in now this is I'm pulling the realism here. They are all badass. And to say any general that was a Jedi during the war, dude, that's a I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to strenuously disagree here. He is awesome. He is badass.
Yeah.
I think his style is giving Ahsoka problems. That's it.
Yeah.
I think they're both. Again, I'm not disparaging Ahsoka. I'm saying that his particular style, whatever, I don't even know which style he uses in those sword forms. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know, but whatever he's doing is giving her problems because it's such an aggressive thing. Vader. We've talked about how he's one hand on you. I'm one hand on you. And he's just constantly brute forcing his way through people. Just constant overhead strikes, overpowering you. Kylo Ren tries that before he realizes it's not going to work.
Yeah.
When he was in his hunched form. I'm not strong enough to beat people down. I need to maybe do some more parrying for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yes, I mean... I think she's just a better tactician. She is probably going to win. If they go to battle, she wins. Because a battle is made up of, or war, to make it more simplistic for certain people, a war is made up of certain battles. I don't think she can take him in lightsaber. However, I think now that she's on her path, I've not seen anything to think that she's not stronger than him in the Force.
Yeah.
I mean, she did learn from freaking Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And, Obi-Wan and, right?
Yes.
I think once she's reconnected, or whatever I'm going to call it, like I said, she wasn't really herself, and I kept talking about it on the podcast. Now that she's more, and I hated snips, but I'm going to say snippy. I don't know, man. I'm just thinking that concentration, that feeling, what we talked about? How you have to be, you have to feel something. And gray Jedis or whatever you're going to call them, that's not a thing. You can get as angry as you want. Whatever you need to do, you just can't let it over consume you, let's say. I don't know. I think, if let's say if we're doing an RPG and there's 10 slots, she probably has him in 7 of them out of 3.
Yeah.
But from what we've seen, lightsaber combat is not one of them.
Okay.
Now, once again, I think it's a stylistic thing. So let's say, again, let's talk about a video game. And you put her up against 100 enemies and you put him up against 100 enemies. I don't know how that goes down because he's so brutish. What if you get a Yoda? I feel like Ahsoka can do acrobatics. She's already proven that she can at least hold her own for a little while with brute force. I don't think Balin can do acrobatic. So I think someone like Yoda,
Yeah.
or even now Ahsoka the White, if we got to see more of a Clone Wars or a Rebels version of her versus the current one that's stabby, I think she can flip over him, flip around him, cut his foot off, stab him in the face, and the whole 9 yards.
Do you think we'll learn who Balin Skull's master was? And if we do, and it turns out to be someone like
That's a great question.
Ki, Mito Mundi, or Plo
Ki-Adi
Koon,
Mundi.
we'll be like,
Plo
oh my
Koon.
gosh, it makes a big difference. But to me, it wouldn't, because I don't like either one of those.
I think that would be a waste. I think that's a great point, dude. I really do. That would be a waste. He is an interesting enough character in and of himself, right?
Next week he'll be like, "Oh, Master Mundi warned me of you."
Or the fudge, the way that freaking Disney goes, Master Yoda told me about you.
Yeah.
Like what? Like that's an unnecessary plug. That's a great question because of the history of Star Wars, Disney. Everybody's got to be connected, but I think that's a waste. Don't you think?
Could be
If they connected him like that, I think
depends on who they pulled.
He's just an interesting enough character on his own where I don't feel like he needs to be connected. I mean, we've only seen again very little, so there's only
So far, Filoni has known exactly what people are going to be bitching and complaining about, and solved it the very next week.
Oh, you're 100% right. Well, I told you, I feel like I played Dungeons and Dragons with Filoni in high school.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, we have to mention this. The rumor or the theory that Shin Hati will take the place of Skywalker.
Marie
Jaden Skywalker. So if that is the case, and they're using different pawn pieces to represent those, I mean that opens up a massive future in terms of who can be who in those storylines, right? You're right. He doesn't do anything without a reason, and so just the amount of puzzle pieces moving at one time. But there's a character that highly resembles the description of Balin Skull, and he becomes a very, very powerful Sith master.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. And he does visit a temple. I can't remember enough of it. I don't want to go into names, but he basically goes to like an old Sith place and gets a massive power up by learning some secrets and does it like learns from an old Sith.
He ate the power up mushroom.
Like the Force ghost of a Sith teaches him some.
Okay.
So that's unfortunate because they can't. I don't know how they can do that now with them passing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Anywho, we went off on a giant tangent, but all of it fit back in to what we were talking about. My goodness, we just went off on like a 20-minute tangent on lightsaber abilities or who's going to win in a fictional battle. So they battle. I think he wins the lightsaber part of it. She wins everything else because all of a sudden there's a ship, there's gunfire or blaster fire, whatever you want to call it, and then she's off in the wind, and then gets to the scene just in time, and they defeat pretty much everybody. But honestly, it was tough going. We talked about Sabine showing some things some things are starting to pick up for her.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Or at least it seems like it to me, whether that's intentional or not. And then basically everybody bolts out because who's the guy that's always a step ahead of you?
Oh, the Grand Admiral.
The Grand Admiral. And he's like, this is acceptable losses, and we've learned something. While they were distracted, now we have all of these things except for a couple of units. And we've talked about this, what's in the boxes. I did read some people thought it might be the bodies of... So that the Night Sisters can make the undead army, the Night Army.
Okay.
I like that. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Other people had posited possibly it's something that is needed to create a bigger weapon of some kind.
Yeah.
something of value or something that, again, once again, it creates a weapon, sort of like a Death Star. I mean, you got to remember what, I guess, kind of environment he came in. I mean, they went from Death Star to Planet Star.
Yes.
I mean, that's the whole idea, right? Get a planet killer. So if he's of that same idea, it's not, let's say, that far-fetched. But yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the definite moments where you're like, oh, they have really kind of been chilling on Thrawn, if we're being honest, in terms of his tactical.
Yeah, they haven't really shown what he was all about. All they've done is send him asking for favors,
Right,
and cutting people down.
Really, you're 100% right. And so, doesn't this one kind of like give it? And hey, congrats to the actor, because both of us picked up on it. There's a scheming, right?
Yes.
Like, you can see the wheel. I don't know how he portrayed it, but you can see the freaking wheels turning. So, I mean, he mentions it in the earlier part or the last part of the other episode about being a step ahead, right?
Yeah.
When you see this, you're like, oh, wow. Okay, they really did cement that one in. And you're like, oh my gosh, she spoiled the one thing she couldn't afford to, which was time.
Time, yes.
And so we kind of end up with them all leaving, and they just left Shati behind. Like, peace out, Boy Scout. But I thought it was very cool. Ahsoka reaches her hand out. I can help you.
Yep.
I'm telling you, that was done on purpose. So, I don't think Shati is done in the Star Wars universe. Not in any way, shape, fashion, or form. I like I said, I can kind of dig what they're saying about her possibly because they can't do the traditional Ben, Han and Leia children, right?
Yeah.
They can't do the twins plus the third and one
correct.
turning and then other killing, and so now maybe they can do the same story without relation.
Okay.
But then I would think to myself, where does Rey fit into that equation? Unless instead of 2 males and 1 female, they do 2 females and 1 male. Same story, just different sexes, right? That would match up. There's 3 people.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What about yourself?
I don't know. That's a lot to think. I don't know.
It got really deep.
Yeah.
Last 2, man. A lot of information. I still think a lot of story building for something greater. Because, I mean, we talked about it, how we do prep, right?
Uh-huh.
And maybe a page or 2 at most on most episodes. Because we're like, ooh, lightsabers are cool. Look, red and green. One looks orange. Whatever, right? God bless the amount of information that you have to try to keep in your dome after watching the last 2 is a lot. The references,
the one
the
they
Easter
did all the
eggs.
talking, especially. My goodness.
Whoa, man, is it right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think we have definitely covered.
We've covered this episode 100%, James.
And again, it's setting up the future, so we can go back and listen to this once the movie comes out and be like, "We called it! We called it! Look right there." Any last words?
Oh no! Did you hear that Filoni said he got the green light for the Clone Wars movie?
No. Oh, thank you for
with
bringing that up.
actually Anakin playing Anakin, so he's going to actually have Hayden Christensen coming in.
I think yes, that was a giant missed opportunity. However, I don't know if the CGI was available in. Now I've seen what they can do. They could really make something special about that period of time.
Yeah.
Because those were some pretty awesome stories. We can
Yes,
both
they
agree
were.
on that. They were some gripping stories, not always the most happy. So yes, if they could make a series of movies, man, I'd be front and center for every last one of them. I know we would
be good.
actually.
Yeah, that would be some good movies.
That is a brilliant. Yes, thank you for that. Anything else that
I
you can
don't
think
believe
of?
so.
I don't have anything this week. We talked about most of the Easter eggs and spoilers and stuff that I had read during the week. So, once again, thank you for sitting in and listening to Ben Davis and myself wax philosophical about all things fictional. This is the 80s Kids Going Commando podcast. Ben Davis, as always, take us out.
You can catch us on all social media as Going Commando with the 80s Kids. Tune into our next one. Starting Halloween tomorrow. Big stuff coming up all month.
October 1st tomorrow, and we will have a special episode, hopefully, for y'all to listen to.
That's right. And until next time, may the Force be with you.